Episode 93, the week before Merry Christmas is here. Welcome to the TFW podcast. That's freaking wrestling. E is sipping on his tea, but he is in a much, much, much better space than where he was just a few days ago. Eshaun, speak to the people. Tell them you're doing all right. Tell them you are living and you are here for their wrestling needs and wants.
Thank you for Mucinex for getting me through this work week. Hey, you know what? Mucinex isn't that bad when you drink it, but like NyQuil, that's like drinking death.
See, I'm a NyQuil guy.
It burns going all the way down, out to pee too.
Oh, see, no, I'm a NyQuil
from the
guy.
lips down to the tip. It burns. It's horrible.
It burns?
That sounds like a
Oh, yeah.
urinary tract infection.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you may
That's
need to go
NyQuil
to the
problem.
other doctor. I don't think you have a cold, buddy. If
Or
it's,
STD, one or the other.
yeah, if it's burning through the hole, man.
All the way down.
I used to, thank goodness, knock on wood, I don't get sick often, but whenever I used to get sick, I used to do NyQuil. It would knock me out, but I never had no issues with burning or not tasting. I never had Mucinex. So
It's not bad. Not bad.
Rhodesia, when you are sick, what is your drug of choice?
Probably a Zyrtec D. I find that usually cures all of my issues. Even if it's not really sinuses, at some point or another, whatever sickness I got, it either turns into sinus infection that I need antibiotics for, which I'm kind of a stickler about not taking antibiotics, or other sinus pressure. So usually Zyrtec D. Knock me
Zyrtec
out.
D knocks you right out.
Mhm.
Hopefully everybody listening is in healthy and happy spirits. Just watching Charles Barkley on NBA on TNT, and he's sick as a dog. So it is definitely going around. Hopefully y'all get all that out your system so you can enjoy Christmas, you can enjoy New Year's, happy and healthy, and all that good stuff. Shout out to everybody who checks out the pod. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. We talked about it on the last pod. This is going to be our last, I guess, quote unquote, current events show before World's End, which it will be on New Year's Eve. The two pods you guys are getting next week, they'll still be timely. So if something happens, we'll absolutely talk about it. But that's going to be our best of series, best of the entire year of 2023. We got a plethora of topics we'll be hitting. And like I said, I'll try to get those topics and the nominees up on X. So follow us there. If you're not, that's F&W. And maybe even do some on YouTube too. So follow us there. If you are not, that's freaking wrestling. If you're not following us on the podcast platforms, do that also. Spotify, Stitcher's gone. We don't care about Stitcher, right? But we got Google.
Apple.
What else we got? Apple Podcasts.
Mhm.
Wherever you listen to your podcasts, we are there. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a family member. Check us out. Let's start. It wasn't much from Raw, but you guys know on the Wednesday pod, we'll always talk a little bit of Raw. Before we get to Raw, and I forgot to shout out my GOAT, my forever GOAT, Stone Cold Steve Austin. His birthday was Monday, along with Trish Stratus. So happy, of course, belated birthday to the two legends of this thing. For you two, what's if I was to tell you guys hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Trish Stratus, and you got to tell them your number one memory of them. You guys have anything that comes out immediately when you think about either Austin or Trish Stratus?
Just no. For Trisha to be, I remember when I first saw her debut, she was just a valet, and then ends up having probably one of the best women's career in pro wrestling that there is. So just how much I've seen her grow and learn her craft. As far as Stone Cold, it probably would just be my husband's crazy about you. He was crazy about you. He shaved his head off, all his hair off to be like you. I don't know. I don't really have those connections with Stone Cold like you do.
I love me some Trish. I think that was my first wrestling crush. You
didn't have a crush on Miss Elizabeth back in the day or Sensational Sherry?
Mm-mm.
Really? Yeah, I like both of them in their own different ways.
You know what? No, my first wrestling crush was Medusa. Medusa Michelli.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. And this is when she was Medusa Michelli. This is because I used to follow wrestlers through the magazines.
Mm-hmm.
So I follow her through the magazines and whatnot before I actually saw her in WCW. But I think that Medusa was my first and Trish was my second, man. Woo. Trish. What a woman. And Stone Cold, I followed Stone Cold his entire career. So I would say Stone Cold, Steve Austin, and probably Raven are two wrestlers. I followed them through gimmick, through promotion to promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been a huge Steve Austin fan. I love that the ultimate version of him was ended up being Stone Cold, but yeah, big fan of both those.
Yeah, I think my favorite memory of Trish was I always talked about like Trish. She was like the modern day female Rock. When she was coming up, Rock was also like the hot baby face, and they just reminded me so much of each other. I don't really have like a one set memory of her because she just did so much. Like even like Austin, and it's funny. I was thinking like a lot of people would say what, and that is nowhere near on my list at all. You know, like we have the Zamboni driving to the ring. We have him beating Shawn at Mania. Like we have the broken neck with Owen. That whole storyline, him stunnering Vince and Madison Square Garden, the first time Vince had really been touched on WWE TV. Like there's just so many like iconic moments for Austin and really for Trish. And I still, even when they showed the video package saying happy birthday to Trish on Monday, still wasn't much crowd response. And I know she was a heel when she left, but it was kind of just, I just wonder what the like non-connection is to a lot of these newer WWE fans that just don't look at her like they do with Lita. Anytime Lita comes back, she gets the huge pomp and circumstance, and you kind of don't get that with Trish, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know. So Monday Night Raw. I don't know what was more impressive. It was a few things impressive. I don't know if it was Miz and Gunther killing it again. I don't know if it was the Creed brothers not being ready like for main roster, but getting thrown in the deep end. And it's like, hey, y'all going to sink and swim or swim. And they have been swimming every single week out there. It feels like, or we actually got a holiday themed show from WWE that wasn't trash. I don't know what I was more impressed with. The show wasn't like a best show like ever or anything like that. But typically, you guys know how that week before a holiday goes. It is like throwaway. And it was a couple of segments that you're like, all right, whatever. But overall, that was a really fun holiday show. What'd you guys think?
I don't know what's more impressive than the Shinsuke Nightmare Before Christmas video package, which was incredible.
Sure was.
Or R-Truth actually being part of the Judgment Day.
R-Trizzle. Protect that man from all costs, man. I'm saying every single week. We should have like an R-Truth segment. He's going to do something every week that we probably could deep dive and talk about. He's hilarious.
You know, R-Truth character is like right up Vince's wheelhouse. He knows how to use like somebody like Truth, right? But I feel like Triple H is even using R-Truth better than Vince. Because that was a great usage of him, wasn't it?
I made a joke, and hopefully it is just a joke. So, talking about Vince, Samantha Irvin is doing her usual fantastic job of entrances, and then she gets to the women's tag team title match. And we typically know how she says Chelsea Green. And she didn't hit it this time. And I was like, oh, shit, Vince is back. And Vince is like, no, we cutting that out. And then she goes on. I think she hits the Miz, right? Or somebody that she typically puts like a little extra info on. I was like, okay, maybe it's all good. I go on X after Raw, and she liked 2 tweets from people saying like, damn, they must have made her stop saying Chelsea Green's name the way she did. So for her to like it, I was like, ooh, maybe there's something to it. I wonder like what that was about. Hopefully it's not Vince. But, you know, we run with anything that's bad. We say it's Vince's fault. So hopefully that's not the case. But, yeah, I really did like the show overall. I thought it was a really good show. Even to your point, Rhodesia, about the Shinsuke like package, that was done like really well for it to be holiday time. And it wasn't cheesy. And he was like going hard, too, talking about Dusty. And
yeah,
that was a lot.
He's an inbred. I'm like,
that was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I still don't care about seeing that match anymore than it was, but...
Well, at least the video package lived up to my expectations, plus more.
It did. Round of applause for our new tag team champs. really our only real tag team, women's tag team in the WWE.
No, we got another one. We got another tag team. Isla Dawn and Fire.
Do we? We ain't seen them on TV in like a month.
We saw some video packages like a month ago or so, right? They were coming back, stopped. And then
Yep. But yeah, but Kayden Carter and Katana Chance, I think it's the right call. You got to shout out. I don't want to just say Chelsea, but Chelsea made sure there was no more curse of the tag team women's title. Every single week, she did awesome out there with those belts. I think they did enough together where, okay, you guys don't need the belts anymore. We can move on and actually try to build some stories around the women's tag team division with a real tag team. And that's the right call for them. We've talked about it numerous times. Like, what are they waiting for to do something with these girls? And they finally put the belts on them. So shout out and congrats to them.
You know what that is, right? What they're doing.
What's that?
This is just they are what's the term? It's a lame duck champion.
Oh, for who?
Right word?
For who?
For Katana and Katie.
I'm saying you're saying they're lame ducks, so that means typically. So you got somebody in mind you think is going to take it off of them.
So we already knew Asuka and Kairi were in Damage Control. They made a big deal to say they're the Kabuki Warriors. The Kabuki Warriors are back, and they're after all the gold. And I just figured they would just beat, Piper and Chelsea, right? I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna, give them a nice little underdog tag team to kind of feud with a little while before they drop those belts to them. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose some titles on their first defense, to be honest with you.
Oh, sheesh. Now then everything Matt just said, you have to backtrack. Them belts are absolutely tainted then. On the first title defense?
The match would be good, though. Yeah. We could say that.
It'd be a great showing, right?
Yeah. The match would be good, and y'all be hyping. There you go with that great showing again.
Because the first time those two teams face each other it would do Damage Control of the Kabuki Warriors a disservice to lose to them. Like, right?
Yeah.
Clean, yes. But it could be some fugazi in the whole mix. Bailey could mess something up. I mean, there could be something they could protect them. But if they lose it on the first title defense, oh my gosh.
Well, it wouldn't be the first, right? I mean, like, the first. Yeah, give them a couple of matches with the titles first, and maybe that match can happen at the Rumble. So give them a couple matches on Raw, and then they can get. But I do like the whole idea of the Kabuki Warriors being tag champs, though.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen.
I like that.
I don't want to see that happening though to closer to Mania time. Like, I want them entering Mania with the titles. I don't want to see them get it like Rumble time or No Way Out time.
Well, if you think about it, if we are going to get this 8-woman match, that's still how it goes, right?
Yep.
It'd be very impressive to see Damage Control with a collection of championships to face like the opposing, baby faces.
Oh yeah, it would be like it would kind of have that Judgment Day kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
So and then we'll talk about it. I'm sure Judgment Day is going to come up a few times on next week's shows, just about how strong of a 2023 they had. But they were in that ring cutting that promo at the beginning of the show. It's just like, man, they did run Raw. I mean, you can argue and say they ran WWE for the year 2023. And shout out to Dom too, getting a 5-year contract extension. So well deserved. I put on X. He's been an absolute workhorse this year. So he deserves it. We know he wasn't going nowhere. And then I saw later on that day that Ray also renewed his contract.
How many years?
I didn't see that one. I didn't look because I'm just like, that's interesting. I
hope it's a couple months.
Oh,
yeah. Like, I mean, he's not. I don't know. We can't speak for him. Yeah. But I thought he was just talking about retiring.
I thought he said that, didn't he?
I thought he said like he had 1 or 2 years left, like 8 months ago. So I guess we'll see.
So, I don't know if it's a Legends deal or what, but the Mysterios are getting that money for sure. What else? Oh, I'm probably gonna be in the minority, or maybe not. Maybe not. In 2 weeks, I already know I'm going to be upset when we get on this Yep, I'm going on this podcast. I'm probably going to go on one of my tangents about how do you have Nia Jax lose clean to Becky Lynch. And I understand Becky Lynch is Becky Lynch. She's the man. I get it. I understand. When those two women were in the same ring and having physicality, all I can think of is realistically, there is no chance Becky Lynch could beat Nia Jax. And I think the reason why I'm so hung up on the size difference, because Sasha is a smaller girl too. We know how, skinny. She's got some, muscle on her, but she's also really, really thin. But Sasha doesn't like call herself the man. She doesn't come across as like tougher than everybody else. So like when that happens and then I see Nia Jax come in here and I'm just like, Nia could like just flick her finger and toss you across the ring. I personally have like, okay, how can I be invested in this if it goes the way I think it's going to go? Now, who knows? They may shock us and Nia may go over and she gets a nice little push going into the Rumble. I don't think that's going to happen, but I just want them to protect Nia in this because they've done a great job with Nia. She's done a great job since she's been back. And Becky's been on a hot streak too ever since she's been done with Trish over, the summertime. But just watching them two together on Raw was like, they can't just job Nia out.
Give me my money back, Matt, because I ain't buying it. Job that woman.
Oh my!
Job her to hell, goddammit.
Wow.
Job her to hell and back again.
Job who?
Nia Jax, god dang it. You know who I'm talking about. Jobber.
Weren't you just on the Nia Jax train a couple weeks ago?
BB.
Par for of course.
Jobber.
In 2 weeks, he can be like, I cannot believe they jobbed Nia Jax. Like, you said 2 weeks ago.
No. Hey, I said she's entertaining. I didn't say she wasn't jobbable to the man. G did. Job that woman.
I know I got ran through the mud because I had this conversation about 6 months ago about Becky and somebody she was going against. I forgot who it was. And I was just like, there's just no way that in my mind and suspending my disbelief and all that good stuff that I can believe that Becky can actually beat this person. And here we are again. So I don't really have anything nice to say about it. So I'm not going to say anything about it. But I just hope that whatever they decide to do, they protect Nia if she does lose. Because, again, I'm actually interested in this Nia right now that we have. And it's good. And it's not me just being kind of like a mark for her. She's actually really good.
Man, ain't nobody paying to see no Nia Jax.
Shit, I am.
Where I talking about?
I am.
Selling no shirts.
And
she ain't selling no underwear.
And that theme song is starting to grow on me too.
What y'all talking about? Y'all protecting her.
You know what I'm saying?
She be all right. And look, she gonna take the job. And then she gonna sit on somebody else's face the next week. And y'all will be just fine. She gonna cut a little promo. Y'all gonna chuckle. And we gonna put up the Nia Jax banner
again.
Ones? It be just fine.
Put up the ones.
she doesn't.
Yeah, we be just fine.
She be down with them.
She can take the jib. She ain't talking about
the jib. What else y'all got from Raw that y'all want to talk about?
Not necessarily Raw, but you were talking about Ray and Dom signing contracts. So two things kind of came up thinking about contracts. First, I'll touch on Bray Wyatt.
Oh.
We say Way Bright in our family. We do Sami Zayn as Sami Zayn in our household. So I got to be careful when I use our insider term here. But his father was on Wrestling Talk as a podcast, and he had mentioned that WWE has given Bray Wyatt a Legends contract so that proceeds for that contract can go to his children. That's, if true, that is amazing. And that is like the things that is, I would love to work for a company that has morals like that and does things like that. So good job to WWE if that's true.
Shout to them.
Like for sure. And then just leads me to maybe my next question. There was also some rumors that Charlotte had resigned, and it's said to be a large amount. And so it had me thinking, because we talked about this on last podcast about Sasha.
And women get paid.
You said Sasha was asking for a lot of money. So my question to the two of you, and women only, I'm going to keep it in women. Who do you think, if you were WWE, who would you pay more? Charlotte or Sasha or another woman?
Same amount of contract years?
Yep.
And we can't give them all the same deal?
I guess for purposes of this question, who would you give an extra penny to?
Got you.
Who would be able to say they the highest
and we're talking just between Sasha and Charlotte?
And I say, or another woman. So if you want to throw a Jade in there again, I don't.
No, it would be
had
Becky. Becky would be the third.
Ah,
Yeah, it'd be between them three.
okay. So then, who
And
would you say?
Would I give the most to? E, you got your answer? While I think about this,
I give the most money to Becky's. If it was me, I would go Sasha and then Charlotte. But they might go Becky, Charlotte, Sasha. Right?
I can see that.
They may see, I don't think that we've seen the best of Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, whoever she's gonna come back as. I don't think we've seen the best of her. And I think that the ultimate version of her can be right up there with Charlotte. I don't know if either one of them can rival the popularity of Becky Lynch at the height, because I think that she just has like a it charisma that I don't think the two of them have. Yeah, I think they have charisma, but I think that Becky has a different type of charisma that can attract a wider audience than those two girls. But I think that definitely Sasha and Charlotte can be on the same level if given the same opportunity. But I don't think we've seen the best of Sasha yet. I think we've seen the best of Charlotte. I think she's tapped out. I think that she's reached her ultimate level, and I don't think I think we've seen it.
Yeah, like,
and there's
nothing wrong with saying that. I mean, she's made it into WrestleMania already. Her and it was Rhea last year, right? Because it was Bianca and Asuka. So yeah, it was Charlotte and Rhea at Mania last year. They absolutely could have finished Mania night one. We understand why they put the tag title match in. That should have been there. But they even worked like it was the last match on the card.
Yep, they did.
So, I mean, she's done a lot. I think you would have to go Becky because of the fanfare for Becky. Becky still gets some of the loudest pops in person of anybody on the roster. Of anybody in the roster. So you got to go Becky. But I also know how big Sasha is too. So I would go Becky, Sasha, Charlotte. But for this conversation, I would go Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte, just because I want Sasha Banks back in WWE.
Number 30.
Because if Charlotte got that, now who knows? Maybe Bianca. I mean, maybe Sasha's already signed, and we just don't know about it, and we'll see her at the Rumble, and it's hush hush. But if it's known as, hey, you got your own traveling bus now, you're getting broke off from a dollar perspective. Sasha was already asking for top dollar. Shit, Sasha be asking for $10 million a year now. Banks is like, the number just went up. And ain't nobody else paying for it. I saw somebody on X this week said, what if, because Impact, Scott D'Amore came out and said, TNA, that they're close to basically signing their biggest free agent ever, I think is the word he used. So then there was some thoughts of like, who is that? Of course, we know all the WWE, contracts are actually up this week. So that could be a thing. And then somebody's like, hey, what if she goes to Impact for or TNA for a short-term deal? She could be there, with Trinity, et cetera, et cetera. I can't see that. If I don't think her and AEW talks just stopped because of creative. I would also think it would probably have to be monetary also. So
could be all that.
I will say this. My disinterest in Becky had me not even think about and consider Becky. But now that y'all bring up those good points and me seeing it live in action of the big pops that she get, I can see her maybe, if all is equal, I can see her getting paid the most. I do think, though, in my question, I probably will put Sasha first, just because, one, she's not there right now, that she can leverage more of what she's done already and what other possible offers she maybe had on the table. I think she just can bargain a little bit more about how much money she can get. And then, I mean, she's making money in movies and acting too, but I just think that Sasha can make more money out of the deal, out of these three people. But with everything being equal, you're right. I believe Becky Lynch would deserve more money. And plus, she's been in WWE for the workhorse there forever too.
Think about all the man t-shirts she sold.
Yeah.
And then she just came out and said that WWE's her home. She's going to retire in WWE.
Oh.
But that was like That's not to say she won't leave and then retire, come back, but
Yeah.
she ain't going nowhere. Her and Seth's contract is up this year, and I even said there was a 99.999999999% chance, 999% chance that she's re-signing and Seth is re-signing. They're just, I know we've seen some crazy things in wrestling.
Mhm.
Those are two though that I would be beyond shocked if we heard.
Hey man,
they were leaving.
didn't I read somewhere that Triple H said somewhere that he wasn't playing around with contracts next year?
Yeah, they're even looking to extend some wrestlers in the
What
next
do you
couple
mean by
months.
that? Not playing around with contracts.
Like it sounded like to me like he said they wanted to keep their talent, so they weren't
Mhm.
gonna mess around with trying to undercut them and
Okay,
like they go. It sounds to me if I'm not messing around, it means like, hey, I'm gonna give you what you worth.
got it. I like
Along
Right.
with, okay, I know your deal's not up for another 18 months. Let's just go ahead and get you locked up now.
Mm.
Because if you remember when AEW came to fruition, they signed a lot of the talent to a 5-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really, they typically didn't do 5 years, but that was okay. That's enough time to get them locked in. And the releases, of course, that took a whole lot of people, put them back on the market. But yeah, there was like a lot of 5-year deals. So it'd be interesting to kind of see what 2024 looks like with all the free agency, even with AEW. Does AEW try to match and they try to go 4 or 5 years, or do they maybe do 3 years? It's gonna be just interesting. There's gonna be a lot of money to be had in the wrestling business.
Good for them.
In 2024. Yep. Speaking of allegedly, MJF is still saying he's not under contract.
Mm.
He said it today. Had an interview, I think, with Sports Illustrated, and he's doubling down that he has not signed a contract. And after World's End, he wants to be in AEW, but after World's End, they'll need to talk business. Give us. We did this a few weeks ago, so I got 2 questions for you guys with this. Give me your percent that he signed through January. So let's start with that one first. Give me your percent.
What you mean that he signed through January? I thought he's
Yes,
already
'cause-
signed through January.
Well, his contract's supposed to be up, remember, like January 2nd. Or so give me your percent that he has re-signed already.
Okay. Oh, now?
Yep.
I'm gonna say that 85%. I'm gonna say 95%.
I'm going 100% because I don't know what we've been doing for the past year if he ain't on the contract. So I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to think about it when we talk about it because if next year April, if MJF is under WWE contract, it's gonna be a problem for Tony Khan. I want him to turn his ex Twitter phone off because he'd just be the dumbest man in the world.
That would be really bad. I'm going the same number I went with Becky and Seth. 99.999999999999999% that he signed. I just think there was no way in the world you do this storyline, because either way it goes, even if you squash him at World's End, you squash him, that still doesn't help your company at all. So he's under contract, but let's play the game. Say he has not re-signed with AEW and his contract legit is up first week of January. Where do you guys want to see MJF in 2024?
Keep him in AEW.
WWE, baby. If he's available, send him to WWE. Can you imagine? So like this man has had a year run with this championship, had all the creative, and we feel like he's kind of under-delivered in some ways with the role. And I just feel like not because of talent, I think it's because of talent. I think it's because of creative. I think if he had the right creative behind him, I think this would have been a huge year for him. I think he goes to that marketplace in that machine with some guidance, sky will be the limit.
I'm much higher on his 2023 run than you are. The only miss for me this year was the 4 Pillars build. That was a miss, and I think that was double or nothing. Other than that, I've enjoyed everything else. I liked his story with Brian. It started slow, but then it picked up, and that match was, we'll talk about it next week, one of the matches of the year, the Iron Man match. I love the stuff with Cole. leading up to All In. And the double stuff is long in the tooth, right? And that's not really him. That's a lot of other pieces that they keep adding to it. But for me, I would still want him in AEW. I think him going to WWE right now, WWE is really, 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 really top heavy. And this is kind of one of those, not now, maybe next go round, whatever that contract looks like, 3 years, 5 years. Okay, we can revisit it, because by that time, the main event scene is going to look drastically different in WWE through his next contract. Cody will still be there. I'm going to say Seth won't be there in the main event spotlight. I think Seth would be back down to the upper echelon of the upper mid card. Like, he's going to be the co-main. Roman will still be there, but I think very limited. I think there will be no Brock. I think Gunther will be there. I think there will be no Finn, like in the main. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just going to look different. It's just
Let
going
me
to
ask
look
you a question,
different.
Matt. Who's WWE's top heel going in 2024?
Roman.
How many times are you going to see Roman in 2024?
Is he breaking Hogan's streak, or is he not breaking Hogan's streak? I think that could completely change the answer. He would have to have that belt until September 2024 to be the longest reigning champ outside of Bruno Sammartino in WWE's history books.
Let's go.
If they are looking to have him break that streak, I think we're not going to see him much in 2024. I think it may be close to what we saw him in 2023. I don't want that. I would hate that. But I also would love for him to be like, to have that moment of, I am the top guy of all time in WWE. Doesn't really matter. I don't know if it even really matters, but it would just be cool, because this is the most financially positive the company's ever been. But to answer your question, he wouldn't be there weekly. No. But would Punk be that heel? That's a possibility.
I forgot all about him.
Don't forget about Gunther. I think Gunther is in for a hell of a 2024. Of course, he's not like an MJF, but if you're talking about heels, I think you got some players there. But I know what you mean, though.
So there's definitely room for a top heel right now in the midst of what they have, right? So you think about what MJF is really great at is being a heel. And just imagine being a heel in that machine, and then he has people to feed off of. He has a ready-made program with Cody, right? I definitely could love to see him against a Seth. I definitely love to see him in a real feud with CM Punk. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for a heel like him, and there's people who can step to the top, because I think that the trend of what we're seeing with Roman in 2023 is what you're going to see the trend of him in the next couple of years. I don't think he's going to be there weekly or even monthly a lot of times. So there's going to be a lot of TV that's available for a top heel who can talk on the microphone and go in the ring. So now it's a great time for him.
So one thing you said, I got to make sure we are crystal clear on this. Are you saying, because you said a real feud with CM Punk, are you saying that CM Punk MJF feud, which was one of the best feuds in AEW history, are you saying that feud didn't hit? Or are you just saying that we never got the finale to that feud?
It was all right.
Oh, okay. So you just tripping now. Got it. I see what type of time you on. Because now
So
you're getting back. You're getting back to the AEW hate. I like it though.
No.
I like it. I like it.
I think out of everybody I ever talked to, you were higher on that feud than most of us. They had some great talking moments, but the feud itself was all right.
No, man.
All right.
I think you forgot about how good that feud was.
I remember how good some of the promos were, but there's more to a feud than a promo. It was all right, right? I felt like if they had a Michael Hayes or somebody who can kind of smooth in the transitions and kind of interweave a couple of different things and connect things a little bit tighter, it'd have been a lot better. It was all right.
Rhodesia, break the tie on this. Where was that feud at?
With my number one favorite wrestler and MJF, the number one bad guy. I think that probably was outside. I'm trying to think here. Outside of maybe something Moxley, that's probably the best thing that AEW produced in its whole run.
Mhm.
That feud between the two of them. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm not full of hyperbole right now.
Well, I mean, you had the incredible elite feud where you had Mox and Hangman with the Bucks. That was an incredible feud. You had Cody. He's had some fantastic feuds too.
Yeah, but to me, when I'm thinking
yeah,
like
like
the top, yeah, no, that was their greatest feud. That was their greatest campaign in their history.
So, last question, we can move off of MJF. With MJF, do you feel like because you are just not a WWE fan. If you were just a WWE fan, this question wouldn't matter. But do you not feel if MJF goes to WWE, he signs there in 2024, that hurts AEW more than it helps WWE?
It probably does hurt him.
More, because I mean, to me, that's almost like a kill shot.
But you know what? I think that. So yes, I definitely think it does. But I think the big shot of I would say a good shot for AEW would be for Tony to realize, like, damn, I should really get some help and rely on people to do their fucking jobs, so I don't have to work so damn hard, and I can run the promotion, and I don't have to worry about losing to CM Punk or losing to Cody or losing to MJF, or because I actually have a great infrastructure. I have a place that people who actually want to stay and they can build their careers. So maybe if he loses at MJF, he might finally understand that, hey, this isn't just my boyhood fantasy of playing with with the toys in the toy box. I'm actually running the business and actually hire people to run a business with me. So maybe that might happen. And that'd be a great shot in the arm for them.
For who?
AEW.
Man, I think I think it is the opposite. I don't think that would change anything. Well, we already said, we all agree that he's re-signed with AEW.
Because their biggest loss wasn't, I don't think, would be MJF. Their biggest loss, I think their biggest loss, number one, from a fan perspective, was CM Punk.
And from a numbers perspective. I would agree. Just the numbers he's doing with WWE, for sure.
Yes. In MJF, I mean, he's been there from the start. But people aren't tuning in to see him, right? They've been building a show around him for a year now, right? They're not growing with him as champion. And I'm not trying to put that on him. I'm just saying what it is. And I think their second biggest was when Cody Rhodes left, right? He was a figurehead. He was a spokesperson for the show. He was a locker room leader. So those were their two biggest. But yes, would MJF be another? Yeah, but I don't think it would destroy them. I think they would move on just fine. I think they would be better served, again, just building what they have. Because they have people they can push up to the next level, like Swerve, right? If they can get Kenny Omega, when he comes back in great health, to look like a freaking star, and stop wearing them damn jogging shirts and them high cutoff, shorts to the ring with flip flops. If they can have him come out there and look like a star,
he wears knee pads. So chill out.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that might help them continue to grow their business. So I don't think it'd be the end for them, because they have so many great wrestlers in the company right now that they can continue to build, and they can bring people in. Because there's people who in WWE, right? Drew McIntyre, we don't know what's up with him, right? If he decides to leave, like, he will be a big shot in the arm to AEW.
He would be. And he had a hell of a promo on Raw too. I'm telling you, man, Drew is doing some fantastic work.
He looked different. So I don't know, maybe because I was high off NyQuil, but he looked better.
Rhodesia said that
he colors his hair. He must be getting some gray, because his hair is super jet black. But man, I'm going to answer. I have a retort to that, and I know you didn't ask me my 2 cents. But TK,
I was going to ask you your 5 cents.
TK will need to file Chapter 13 if he loses MJF. Slice that, cut that, crop that, whatever you got to do. AEW will fall apart if they lose MJF. That is a fact. So your question is, yes, AEW will lose more than WWE would gain out of getting MJF.
Yeah, I'm closer to being on that side. They're not going to go out of business just because they'll have a TV deal. But I know what you mean when, like, the perception would be a motherfucking killer, boy.
Yep.
That would
Ricky
be
starts
rough.
to leave. Okay, we kind of already know that. He's already
out.
we kind of already felt that already. But you lose MJF? Who you have left will be what? Orange Cassidy, John Moxley, Bryan Danielson.
It may sound crazy. I think it would be a bigger blow if MJF left than if any of the Elite members would have left a few months ago when their contract was up.
I agree. At that time, because as we know, the Elite wasn't like as big as they should have been at that time.
Even though it's called All Elite Wrestling, it's not called All Freeman Wrestling. But still, I digress. But I guess we'll find out. Guess we'll find out here officially, allegedly, in 2 weeks, right?
Or more like 3 weeks, though, right?
They could do some fun stuff with this, though. Yeah. They could do some really fun stuff. They could do some really, really fun stuff with it. Did you guys see? You may not have. WWE is trying out a new gimmick match. They trademarked it. It's called WWE Speed. They did it, I think, for the first time before SmackDown, where it's 5-minute matches. And I forgot who was involved, but they're testing it out. And I think AAA or somewhere has done something like this before, where it's 5-minute matches and it's just balls to the wall. But they trademarked it. They already had a slogan or a logo on the Titantron during the match. So we'll see if that ever makes it to TV or if it's a TV show. But they're trying something different, which I'm kind of intrigued to see what that looks like.
That's my kind of show. Bring it on.
I bet it is.
I'll champion that topic, that segment every week. Hey, this week's episode of Speed, we have 4 minutes and 59 seconds of glorious activity. High flying.
Glorious activity. Why are you so old? Glorious activity. Oh my God. So we were talking about, like, is there a couple of topics we could do real quick before we get into the best of series next week? And one of the things I thought about, because it's like the opposite of the best, not the worst, but who this year, if you were looking at going into 2023, who has maybe underwhelmed or probably even more has not lived up to what you thought they would be at this point? It could be across the globe. You may have a few. I have 3 people that immediately come to mind for me, that if I were around at time and this was the end of 2022 or even the beginning of 2023, and I'm like, yep, these folks are the ones that I am keyed in on, and they're just not where I thought they would be. And it could be their fault. It could be the promotion's fault that they work for. Is there anybody that comes to mind for you guys? And it could be females too.
For me, I don't know if this is the best one that I can come up with, but it was the first one that I came up with. And when you're saying leaving 2022 and now leaving 2023, although in 2022, this person was pretty crap, just with Triple H being head writer now, head creative, I'd have thought by this time this year, it'd have been a lot different. And that's Karrion Kross. I just thought that now with Triple H being head, that Karrion Kross, which is, we know it's his guy, he would be the man. He would be one of those top heavy people that you were talking about. And he's not there. I think we're starting to get some momentum there with him. But Karrion Kross was the first thing that came to my mind when you said that.
That's a great one.
My biggest disappointment for the year was...
Yeah, you were really high on Hit Row.
When did they get released? Oh, they are released in the release. Well, not all of them.
My man Top Dollar was the only person to get released.
That was like Marchish.
I had, I was a big Swerve guy. I didn't know that this version of Swerve was the Virgin Swerve that we would get in AEW. But Hit Row, I'm like, okay, Swerve doing this thing at AEW. The other 3 guys, Top Dollar, B-Fab, has some personality. They can make some noise in the tag team division. As a trio, they can do their thing. Looking forward to them coming back. Then it didn't hit. Okay. Turn them heel. They can go. Top Dollar can, draw some heat. B-Fab can draw some heat. Didn't work. Didn't work, and then Top Dollar gets released. Sad day.
That's another good one. Mine's 3. I'll start with WWE, then I have 2 for AEW. 1 in WWE is by far Montez Ford. I would have
Good
thought by
one.
now he would have
Yes.
been a really strong singles guy
Yeah.
at this point, and he's not. So that's one. In AEW, it's two. One is from this year, but then one is from last year. So if I start with the one from last year, is Action Andretti. It's been actually, I think a week ago was the 1 year anniversary when he beat Jericho on that
And
Dynamite.
his first match, right? It was
Yep.
like against Jericho
And
on Dynamite.
he is just there now. And the other one is from this year, which is a travesty in my opinion, is Takeshita. That guy should be one of your top people.
Because you put him with stupid Dom.
And you had Omega lose to him twice. He was hot, and then that was it. So those were my three. I'm trying to think, is there any women that we thought would have been a much bigger deal now and they're not?
Well, I would say this. I would say the trajectory midway of the year was Toni Storm. I'm like, oh my gosh, like she was a champion. I told you she's coming out to the ring without her belt on. Like that irks me to the fullest. But then we saw what happened. That was actually probably her greatest blessing, losing the title, because now we have her now.
I would say Saraya. Once again, whose fault of it, I'm not sure. But
you thought she'd have been much like that. She would be
absolutely
much bigger.
Why would Saraya Paige come back and she's not like a big deal? Thought that would have been a major shot in the arm for that women's division. And it's not. So she's one. Let me try to think. E, who you got? I'm trying to think one for WWE.
Women?
Oh, I got another one.
No one jumps out on the women's side though. But I got one person on the AEW side. Who you got, Matt?
For the women's side in WWE, Candice LeRae.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see it.
Especially under Triple H.
Well, that whole DIY and that whole family right there. And where's Dexter? Is he released or is he hurt?
No. Actually, and that just came up a couple days ago. He's not hurt. They're just waiting for something creative.
Okay.
Like Candice LeRae, Indy, like they were doing that Wade stuff, and that stuff wasn't really that entertaining, to be honest with you. It was pretty mid, to be honest with you.
That was during the time I really wasn't watching. That was when AEW was kicking that ass.
I mean, like Candice is a good worker, but there's not a lot of character sizzle with her, right? Now, Indy looks like she has a comedic side and there's something that she can play with, but before she left NXT, she didn't really show like a character that I saw that could really, transition well to the main roster. So, Dexter, I don't know what his thing is. He's just kind of quiet. He's not that great in the ring. He doesn't have a great finisher. But we're gonna talk about Edge, Adam Copeland, and his run in AEW yet? Because we talked about it when you guys thought that Edge would kind of help, counteract CM Punk leaving AEW, and he hasn't.
You said you guys you weren't a part of that podcast.
Oh no, I did not agree. I didn't agree with that.
No, we talked about him though about this a couple weeks ago.
I love when there's recordings and you can just go back and listen.
Oh, please go back, because you guys were hyping on you said.
That was like a couple months ago. We talked about a week ago. We addressed this.
No, you even said that. You even said that this signing was just about as big as CM Punk signing to AEW. We have it on record, man. Like,
oh shit,
you're talking about the show from like 3 weeks ago.
Because I said that
once again, our listeners understand and know that you flip flop every single week, so they're like, "This is just par for the course for E." But go ahead and lean into it, man. I know it's content for you.
I legit get headaches because I don't think Matt really. I specifically said that wasn't a big signing. I said I don't know why. That wasn't a big signing when he said it. When Tony, I said that was a flop of a signing. I said that wasn't a good signing. That wasn't not a flop of signing. I said that wasn't worth him bringing up a whole thing about it. I said it wasn't a game changer. I said that wasn't a game changer. I don't see what it's about it. But y'all know what I said. It wasn't a big deal. But anyway, yeah, Edge isn't bringing in like the viewers that I kind of hoped he would, because you would think he's been around for 15 years, that some of his fans, right, were true Edge fans, and they will kind of transition to see what he's doing in a new company, and it hasn't happened. Like, it's kind of strange. I'm not really throwing dirt on it.
It's not strange.
Strange.
I don't think it's strange. I think what that signing showed me is because yes, I did think that between him and remember that's when we were talking Mercedes. We thought Mercedes was coming in. I'm like, okay, between them two, they could help Collision, and that's their show. I think what this showed me was, as constructed, AEW has a ceiling when it comes to viewership. No matter what they do, no matter who they would bring over, they have a ceiling with their viewership. And I think you can even see that with the numbers that Punk's doing. His segment on Raw, the last time we saw him was Monday, I think was like 500,000 more viewers from the previous segment before that on Raw.
Mm.
That's damn near a Collision rating alone.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me that, okay, they're capped. So no matter who they bring in, outside of, I still think Mercedes can bring more eyeballs, but even outside of that, and I don't even think then it's what you would call a needle mover. I don't think the way they're constructed, no one can come in and they need something drastic to happen if we're talking about viewership. If they're happy with the viewership that it is, fantastic, incredible. I just want them to continue to put on the type of shows they have over like the last week and a half. Like that's the kind of shows I can get into, because I really haven't been high. I talked about that last week, kind of on what they were doing previously. But that's what I think it is, man. I don't think it has anything to do with Edge. I think you could I think Seth wouldn't move the needle. Maybe, and this may sound blasphemous too, maybe Roman Reigns. Maybe.
Oh. But look, no, Punk did that for them, a year ago, right? People tuned in to see him, right?
No, the initial one, not a year ago. The initial, when he got there, yes, 1 million on Rampage.
When he debuted,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I think even I always like to use like Fonzie, our buddy Fonzie, as an indicator, because like something's hot. He used to watch wrestling back in the day. But if something is trendy, he'll tune in. He'll see what's going on, right? He tuned in to see what would happen. I don't remember him tuning in to see what happened with Edge, right? Like, you don't think that Edge fans, at least maybe, I don't know, like 60,000, maybe 100,000 fans would tune in to see him on a new show to see what he's going to do there?
Well, his YouTube numbers are through the roof.
Okay.
So they're looking at that.
They look at the clip.
Yep.
But they won't tune into the show.
I mean, maybe they do. Maybe just some of the other fans tune out at the same time. Once again, I don't think it's Edge's fault. But yeah, I think that if we would look at, because he came in November. So I think if we would have looked with a crystal ball and say 90 days from now, would Edge have had really no impact on ticket sales and ratings? I would say that's a lie. No way. And looks like that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really, our fans, because I know we seen it, right? Like the fans when Sasha left, like, she's the worst wrestler in the world, right? Like our WWE fans just not that interested in anything non-WWE related?
I think this year, because they're so hot, that they get their fill. And I get it. And then you add on NXT is hot. So now you're talking Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and then Saturday for PLEs. I'm good. Because what we wanted something different, because what we were getting we didn't like. And now that we're getting what we like, well, I don't really need anything else.
Fascinating.
Yep, very, very, very much
disappointing
so.
in a lot of ways, though, because I would, you would think you want some of your fans that have been following you for your entire career to kind of follow you to your next venture, right, and sample a new program and find some things you might like. There's a lot of things you can like about AEW. I mean, that's the disheartening thing for AEW, and maybe they need to figure out, like, hey, how can we get some of these people who don't watch our product to consistently watch our product, right? We can talk about that next year.
Mm-hmm. Or that could be a part of the best of series.
Could
be part of the best of series.
I'm so excited to do that.
Rhodesia, do you want to just throw out a couple of categories we're going to be talking next week?
I don't even want to pull up the list, but we're going to have best commentator. And I'm talking about like real legit commentators. We're talking about fun commentators. So best guest commentators. Another one of them is best run-ins, best making people crack. So I mean, it's gonna be some fun stuff. It's gonna be some straight up good ones too, like Wrestler of the Year naturally. But it's gonna be some fun ones too. But I'm excited to get that going. And like you said, man, we need to get those out on the Twitters and all the other stuff.
Yes,
you can participate with us.
Yep, and we can get their votes and then go over those votes also. So it's gonna be fun, really, really fun. So we got that caking up and baking up and festering next week for you guys. So we'll do that on Sunday and do that on Wednesday. And then that next pod after that will be on New Year's Eve, where we'll be breaking down World's End. And that'll be our last pod of guys, the two of you. Thank you guys for, of course, being on this podcast and platform every single week. Thank you guys for listening out there and spreading the word about the TFW podcast. We appreciate you guys and we love you guys. And we're out of here. We will be back on Sunday to give you part 1 of the best of series of 2023. And if you have any categories that you want us to talk about, feel free to leave it. You can leave it as a YouTube comment or you can leave it as a Twitter comment. And we will do our best to see if we can add that to the plethora of categories we're going to be talking about. Until then, we will see you guys next time. Bye.